Hi, everyone. Welcome back to English Podcast, day 19 of the 30-day English Challenge.
Day 19. Yesterday we handled emails and meetings. Today we're tackling something a little more uncomfortable, complaining.
Ugh, complaining. Honestly, I avoid this so much that I've eaten cold food at restaurants rather than say anything.
Cold food in silence just to avoid one awkward sentence. I believe you completely because I've done the exact same thing.
It's true. I'd rather suffer quietly than risk sounding rude or difficult.
A lot of learners feel exactly that way, especially in a second language. It's hard enough to complain in your own language sometimes.
Right, and in English, I worry I'll sound either too soft, so nobody takes it seriously, or too harsh, so I sound like I'm attacking someone.
That's exactly the balance today's episode is about. Today's topic is something's wrong, complaining politely.
Before the structure, let's talk about where this actually comes up, because it's more than just restaurants, right?
Definitely. Restaurants are the classic one, but also hotels, wrong online orders, delayed deliveries, faulty products, even a haircut that didn't turn out how you asked.
Ugh, that last one is painful. I once got bangs I absolutely did not ask for, and I just said, "It's fine, thank you," and left.
It's fine, thank you. The most common lie in the English language.
Guilty as charged. I paid full price and cried about it later at home instead.
That's such a common pattern, honestly. Today, we fix that, at least a little.
What else? Where else does this come up?
Customer service calls too, which connects back to day 15, and noisy neighbors, or even workplace situations, like a broken shared printer nobody's fixing.
Oh, and online orders. Something arrives broken or completely wrong, and you have to explain that clearly through a message or email.
Exactly. Complaining well is a skill that quietly shows up in almost every part of daily life.
Oh, and public transport too. A bus that never shows up, and you're standing there deciding whether it's even worth mentioning to anyone.
Very relatable. Or a taxi app charging way more than the price it showed you at the start.
That happened to me last month, actually. I almost said nothing, but I'm glad I finally asked about it politely.
See, that's exactly the kind of small, everyday moment where this skill really pays off.
Okay, before the structure, one more question. Is there a cultural side to this too?
Actually, yes, a genuinely useful one. In many English speaking cultures, there's a real difference between complaining calmly and complaining emotionally, and the calm version is taken far more seriously.
Really? Even if you're genuinely upset?
Even then, yes, staying calm and factual rather than raising your voice or getting emotional usually gets you a much better result, and faster too.
So it's not about hiding how you feel, it's more about choosing how you express it.
Well put. It's really the difference between managing your emotions and letting them manage you.
I like that way of putting it.
Exactly. Calm and clear complaints tend to get solved. Emotional, angry ones often just create more tension without actually fixing anything.
That's such a useful mindset. Okay, now I really want the structure. What is it?
It's simple. A good, polite complaint has four parts: an off opener, what's specifically wrong, what you'd like to happen, and the polite closing.
Opener, the problem, your request, and a close. Let's try one.
Ready. Excuse me, sorry to bother you. I ordered this steak medium, but it came out well done. Would it be possible to get it remade? I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
See? Opener, sorry to bother you. Problem, the wrong steak. Request, remaking it. Closing, a genuine thank you.
Let's do another one. Hi, sorry to bring this up, but our room hasn't been cleaned today. Would someone be able to take care of it sometime this afternoon? I'd really appreciate it.
That's such a calm, clear way to raise something that could easily come out sounding annoyed.
Exactly, that's the goal. Firm but friendly the whole way through.
I also noticed something. This connects to day 17, negotiating, being specific and always suggesting a clear solution.
Great connection. A complaint without a clear request is a lot like a negotiation without a clear number. It leaves the other person guessing.
Can we try one more example, maybe from a different kind of person, just so listeners really understand?
Sure. Let's imagine someone with a delayed delivery. Hi, I'm just following up on my order. It was supposed to arrive 3 days ago. Could you let me know the updated delivery date? I'd really appreciate an update.
Opener, just following up. Problem, 3 days late. Request, an updated date. And it stays completely calm the whole time.
And one more, someone dealing with a noisy neighbor. Hi, sorry to bother you. I just wanted to mention the music's been pretty loud the last few nights. Would you mind turning it down a bit after 10? I'd really appreciate it.
That's so much better than what actually happens in real life, which is usually just angry silence and passive aggressive stares in the hallway.
Right. And notice, none of these examples sounded rude or aggressive, just calm, clear, and specific.
That's really reassuring. I always thought complaining meant sounding at least a little upset or forceful.
Not at all. Calm and specific is actually far more powerful than upset and vague almost every single time.
Okay, your turn. Pause the episode and complain about bad service politely using the four-part structure: an opener, the problem, your request, and a polite closing. Ready? Go.
Nice job, everyone. Now, here's a small tip. If someone apologizes and fixes the issue, always close it warmly, even if you were frustrated a moment ago.
Why does that matter so much?
Because it keeps the relationship positive, and honestly, people remember how you treated them, especially staff who are trying to help you.
That's true. I've definitely been kinder to a waiter after they fixed my order quickly, compared to someone slow and defensive about it.
Exactly. And the warm close, like, thanks so much for sorting that out, leaves things on a genuinely good note.
I think I struggle with that specifically. Once I get what I wanted, I sort of just disappear without really acknowledging it.
The classic silent exit. Completely understandable. But one extra sentence really does go a long way.
Noted. One extra sentence every time, starting today.
That's the spirit. Small habit, big difference.
Mr. B, what mistakes do people usually make when complaining? I feel like I've made a few of these myself already.
Good question. Mistake number one, being too aggressive or emotional, raising your voice or blaming the person directly in front of you.
I actually go the opposite direction usually, but I know people who definitely do this one.
Both extremes exist, but loud and blaming almost always makes the other person defensive instead of helpful.
Okay, mistake one is too aggressive. What's next?
Mistake number two, being too vague about the actual problem, just saying this isn't right without explaining exactly what's wrong.
Oh, that's such a common one, actually. This isn't right could literally mean anything.
Exactly. Specific details like this was supposed to arrive Tuesday give the other person something concrete to actually fix.
What's mistake number three?
Mistake number three, forgetting to say what you actually want to happen, just complaining with no clear request at all.
Right, like just saying, this is terrible, and then just standing there, waiting.
A clear request, like, could I get a refund or could this be replaced, moves things forward so much faster.
Okay, mistake number four.
Mistake number four, complaining publicly online first before actually giving the business a real chance to fix things directly.
Oh, that's such a modern problem, jumping straight to a bad review before even talking to anyone.
Right, a direct, calm conversation first almost always solves things faster, and it's usually fairer to everyone involved too.
Is there a mistake number five? There's always one more.
There is. Mistake number five, forgetting to close things politely, even after the issue gets completely resolved.
Oh, like just walking away silently once you get what you wanted with no thank you at all.
Exactly. A simple thank you at the end leaves a much better impression, and honestly, it's just good manners.
Quick bonus one. Does tone of voice matter as much as the actual words we choose?
Honestly, probably even more. The exact same polite sentence can sound completely different depending on how calmly you say it.
True, no worries can sound genuinely kind, or it can sound like you're about to explode, depending entirely on tone.
Exactly. So, along with polite words, a calm, steady voice does most of the real work.
5 mistakes, 5 easy fixes, plus one bonus reminder about tone. Okay, one more question. Does complaining change depending on the situation, formal versus casual?
Great question. Yes. In a formal situation, like emailing hotel management, you stay professional, specific, and calm throughout.
Like, I wanted to bring to your attention that our room wasn't properly cleaned during our stay. I'd appreciate any assistance in resolving this.
Exactly. Polite, specific, and professionally worded with a clear, reasonable request.
And in a casual situation, like venting to a friend about the same thing,
In a casual situation, you can relax completely and be a lot more expressive. Ugh, our hotel room was such a mess. I honestly couldn't believe it when we walked in.
I honestly couldn't believe it. Much more dramatic, much more casual, and honestly, very relatable.
It's true. With a friend, you can vent freely without needing to stay perfectly calm and professional.
So, formal complaints stay calm and professional, and casual venting can be a lot more dramatic and expressive.
Exactly. Same four-part idea underneath, just a very different tone depending on who's listening.
Can we try one more? Maybe a faulty product, since that's such a common one?
Sure. Formally, emailing customer support, the item I received doesn't seem to be working properly. Would it be possible to arrange a replacement or a refund? Casually, telling a friend, can you believe this thing broke after 2 days? Total waste of money.
Total waste of money. So much more dramatic, and honestly, so much more satisfying to say out loud.
It really is. Formal keeps it solution focused, casual just lets you vent freely for a moment.
Let's practice that difference. Pause again and complain about the same situation 2 ways, once formally, once casually. Go ahead. Great job, everyone. Okay, let's move to word tour.
Word 1. Complain. This means to express that something is wrong or unsatisfactory. Example, I had to complain about the noise.
Word 2, issue. This means a problem or a difficulty. Example, there seems to be an issue with my order.
Word 3, resolve. This means to fix or solve a problem completely. Example, they resolved the issue quickly.
Word 4, refund. This means money given back after a purchase problem. Example, I asked for a full refund.
Word 5, replace. This means to give a new one in place of a broken or wrong one. Example, could you replace this item, please?
Word 6, inconvenience. This means something that causes trouble or difficulty. Example, I'm sorry for the inconvenience this caused.
Word 7, unacceptable. This means not good enough or not okay. Example, honestly, this level of service is unacceptable.
Word 8, apologize. This means to say sorry for something. Example, the manager apologized right away.
Word 9, compensate. This means to give something, often money, to make up for a problem. Example, they offered to compensate us for the delay.
And word 10, frustrated. This means annoyed or upset because something isn't working. Example, I was a little frustrated, honestly.
One bonus word, mix-up. This is an informal word meaning a small mistake or confusion. Example, I think there's been a mix-up with our order.
11 great words. Try using 2 or 3 of them the next time you need to complain politely. Now, let's move to say it better.
Instead of saying, this is wrong, you can say, I think there might be a mistake with my order.
Instead of saying, I want my money back, you can say, would it be possible to get a refund?
Instead of saying, this is terrible service, you can say, I'm a little disappointed with the service today.
Instead of saying, fix this now, you can say, could this be taken care of as soon as possible?
Instead of saying, you made a mistake, you can say, I think there might have been a mix-up.
Instead of saying, I'm never coming back, you can say, I'll have to reconsider coming back unless this gets sorted out.
And instead of saying, thanks, you can say, I really appreciate your help sorting this out.
That last one sounds so much warmer than just a quick thanks.
Small changes, but they sound so much more thoughtful and so much more likely to get a genuinely helpful response.
I really love, I think there might have been a mix-up. It sounds so much gentler than directly saying you made a mistake.
Exactly. Gentle, specific language usually solves problems faster than anger ever does.
Okay, quick recap before the challenge. A soft opener, the specific problem, what you'd like to happen, and a polite closing.
And remember the small fixes too. Stay calm instead of emotional, be specific about the problem, always state your request, talk directly before going public, and close things warmly.
4 simple parts, and suddenly complaining feels a lot less scary and a lot more like a normal, respectful conversation.
Okay, now for the most important part, today's challenge.
Here it is. Today, complain about bad service politely using the 4-part structure: a soft opener, the problem, your request, and a polite closing.
Record yourself saying it out loud, even just on your phone. Just 4 simple sentences.
So, better than my "it's fine, thank you" bangs incident, right?
Much better, though I still think about those banks sometimes.
If you want a bonus challenge, try complaining about the same situation 2 ways, once formally, once casually, just like we practiced today.
And if you feel brave, post it in the comments or share it with the hashtag #RealLifeEnglishChallenge. Day 19, done. 11 more days to go.
And remember, complaining politely isn't about being difficult. It's about being clear, calm, and respectful, even when something's genuinely wrong.
Exactly. And honestly, most problems get solved a lot faster with a calm sentence than with an angry one.
I love that. Clear English, quietly making everyday problems just a little easier to fix.
Well said. And remember, this is English Podcast. Simple English, real life, every day.
See you tomorrow for day 20.
Bye for now, and good luck with that next polite complaint.